Hi, my name is Kenan, and I'm applying for a hospitality and front desk team member position at Raintree Athletic Club at Fort Collins. Just going to go over a couple questions that I think they could possibly ask, and then my answers to them. So first one, the obvious being, tell me a little bit about yourself. Ever daunting, but I like to say that I'm extremely motivated, and I look to elevate whatever team I'm a part of. I tend to be pretty conscientious of how I show up. So I usually think this would be a pretty good opportunity to find myself in a hospitality and front desk role. I like to make the customer experience as enjoyable as I can, and so as as I find myself in those positions, I like to elevate that team. I often find myself leading both formally and informally, and have found myself in leadership positions in just about every job that I've taken on. So my work speaks for itself, and my employers tend to put more responsibility and make me the face of what the customer sees. Next question could be something along the lines of, tell me about a time where you had an uncomfortable confrontation with a customer. There might not be a single instance of this, but I always try to keep a couple things in mind. I try to keep in mind that some people just need to blow off steam. Some people just need to rant and get it out. I also try to keep in mind that I want to be respectful of the person who has an issue, and then respectful of myself and my boundaries and how I'm letting people come off and talk to me. The priority then being, how can I de-escalate this? So there's been a couple instances, but always looking to identify what's the problem. Is it with me? Is it with the service that they experienced from someone else? Or is it from a faulty product, a run-in with something that wasn't working? And then resolving that as quickly as I can for both that customer and preventing it for future customers so that nobody has to deal with that. Third one, I think, would be, what are flaws or some of the challenges you face? And for me, one of my biggest, I like to first draw the analogy of the Energizer Bunny. I find myself going and going and going and going and going a lot of the time, especially when there's work that needs to be done. And so making sure that my priorities are in order, and then making sure that I'm setting aside for myself, because I'll often, if there's work that needs to be done, or if someone needs my help with something, going to be there. I'm going to be the first in line to make sure that it's done well and done properly, for the reputation of myself and to ease the lives of my coworkers going forward. For questions that I often like to bring employers and people interviewing me is, I like to ask, what does your perfect description of this role look like? What does this person act like? How do they show up? How do they go above and beyond for each portion of their responsibilities? I think that's really important, because then it gives me the opportunity to look at myself and further respond with, okay, here's what I want to bring to the table. More often than not, I've had the employer ask, well, what do you think it looks like? And so find myself referring back to their company mission statement, finding how I want to show up in that given instance.